Coming to you live from the All-American Indoor Sports Complex in Lenexa, Kansas. From the bar, the sports pub, and pizzeria, we bring you Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by fans, where we're not fancy analysts, but we have just as many bad takes. We have Mel here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm Buck.
And I'm Bob, and we have special guest Andrew Smitka, formerly with the Chiefs for 12 years?
Yeah, 12 seasons with the Chiefs. Happy to be here.
Happy to have
You
you.
did good and bad.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
the bad and good.
Definitely.
Well, at least you got to end on the good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Going out back-to-back champs for me, and hopefully a third one here as a fan will be awesome to see.
Yeah, because you started for the Chiefs prior to, the Chiefs were pretty bad when, didn't you start during the two-win season? Let's
Yeah.
just say that. 2-14?
Yep. 2012. We only won 2 games that year, and that was a tough one. And that spring when we hired Andy Reid and had the first overall pick, it was really an awesome catapult to where we're at now. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I bet. So you were there when Hunt was basically going after Andy. Like he basically hijacked a plane, flew in, hijacked Andy to give Andy a ride to his next interview, and then Andy just didn't go to the next interview, right?
You know, hijack?
Yeah,
Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Podcast rookie here saying hijack in the first 90 seconds.
There's no bomb, I promise.
Yeah, I think the point you're making is true in that when Reed was here to interview, we weren't letting him leave. Right?
Okay.
He was here. The opening for the head coaching role was there, and as soon as Philadelphia sort of cut ties, Coach was not leaving Kansas City for sure.
Do whatever we can, and no regrets.
Yeah, that was such a cool memory, man. I remember hearing that on the radio. Andy Reid was in town, and he was staying longer than expected. And I was like, as a fan, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to let myself
Right.
fall
It's
for that
absolutely not
hope.
gonna happen.
Like, I don't want that hope, right? And then it just came to fruition, and
Yeah.
it's just been a great ride.
I'm sure we have to thank our barbecue, and also we have a lot of good burger joints here in KC, and we know Andy likes his cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt.
You know, I also think the Hunt family just has that legacy, and they do things the right way, and I think that was part of the intrigue for Coach Reid coming was Lamar Hunt's legacy, and the Hunt family they have that legacy to them, so
Yep.
definitely part of the draw.
And this is my speculation, but it seemed like Lamar had kind of fallen off being able, because he was one of the most interactive owners maybe in the history. He used to walk through the stands and used to tailgate, in his youth with all the fans, but it just kind of seemed towards the end there, he just kind of wasn't, he just didn't have time for it, or it was probably health-wise. But Clark came in there, and I was scared he was going to be someone who wasn't super into it, but boy, he's brought it. His dad would be so proud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a quick pivot from the Pioli era and some of the the challenges that time brought, and you bring in Coach Reid, you have this new regime, and it was just a whole new energy change. And when I think it's a special thing when the head coach, the GM, and the owner are all on the same page. You don't see that very often, and that clicked right away. Having the first overall pick helped, but having that common thread between all 3 layers really helps.
Listen, to get to the first overall pick, though, it's real rough. The reason you've got that first pick is, oh my gosh.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to help out so everybody can hear everybody.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about just what exactly you did for the Chiefs, while you were there? Because you held a few different positions. Is that correct?
Yeah, after 12 seasons, the job kind of ebbs and flows. My initial role was in the community outreach department. I was an intern and focused on youth programming, so school assemblies, school field trips to Arrowhead, and for me, as a young Chiefs fan growing up, to be able to connect new Chiefs fans with the franchise and see the reach that the players had for good and for impact. That was awesome. So, I was in that lane for several years, and then that grew to helping grow our youth football and flag football programming, supporting across the high school level with tackle football, and then eventually into more of a marketing lane and really thinking about youth programming for families and how we were engaging families at a level that will spark fans for life, because I think you realize that football and family have such close ties that parents have influence over their kids as fans, and so this is the era where you want to help create those bonds and create that fandom.
So did you have something to do with the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing? Because I think that has really helped with fan outreach. I know my 5-year-old daughter couldn't care less about football until Taylor Swift arrived.
Talk about a perfect storm, like the ultimate wild card to have Taylor Swift as part of Chiefs Kingdom, and that influence and that whole new network of people that weren't aware of Chiefs football until now. And what a perfect storm with Mahomes and Taylor Swift and the whole lot.
Yeah, she doesn't ask me about if there's going to be a Chiefs game. She asked me if there's going to be a Travis Kelce game.
Yeah. So
wild,
wild,
sweetie.
So
Either
wild.
way,
Yeah. There's interest.
Listen, if they break up, it better be real quiet and nobody better say anything.
I feel like he's a different type of man than she's ever dated in her entire life.
I'm just saying, the
she's gonna have
Taylor
to find
Swift
something
wrath-
else to sing about.
The Taylor Swift wrath, we
Yeah.
don't need that with the fans.
Yeah, no kidding.
It could go down and just as fast as it went up.
Just find a body double and fake it for
Yeah,
a few
right?
years. As long as Travis is playing, just have it fake it.
We will pay you to fake this.
And so I mean, what made you want to work with kids, or did you just try to get a job with the Chiefs and just kind of fell into this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. My heart has always been wired to helping kids, and my degree and career path initially was in education. So I thought, I'll teach, I'll coach, that'll be my sports fix. And it sort of flipped. I landed an internship with the Chiefs, and that connected me in a lot of different ways and showed me what it was like behind the doors at One Arrowhead Drive. And once you're inside, it was like, okay, this is partnering two things I'm really passionate about together in a career. Wow, that was perfect for me at that time of life, for sure.
That is so cool. So I don't know, give us a little bit of what it's like in the office. I mean, are the players just walking through, high-fiving everybody? No, I'm just kidding, of course.
Yeah.
But
No, that's a good question, though. I like that,
Yeah, it's interesting. It ebbs and flows with the NFL calendar. So you're working off the NFL calendar, you're working off of our fiscal year calendar, and then in my role, being so closely associated with the schools, I was sort of working off the school calendar too. So it was kind of this weird balance, but in season, you're seeing the players all the time. My office happened to be right down the hallway from the locker room. So if there was an injured player, I was usually seeing them go down and get x-rays and come back. Or if you're in the cafeteria, you're seeing them at their own tables occasionally. A lot of times it doesn't overlap, but oftentimes it does, so where you're kind of seeing and hearing some of the cool randomness that happens down there.
Behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, behind the scenes
That's
stuff.
awesome.
So is your busy season, as an outreach for the Chiefs, is your busy season more so the NFL season, or is it outside of the NFL season?
And so that's funny. I think it feels busier outside of the NFL
Yeah.
season because you don't have that weekly celebratory game that you're kind of building up to. It's like that energy Monday through Friday you're building into the Ravens game or the
Right,
Colts
right.
game, and then you have that moment Sunday, Monday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, whatever day
Yeah.
it is,
So
when they're
long ramp
playing.
up.
Yeah, you have that moment and it's sort of like resets. So you're sort of getting this like refuel throughout the season, whereas the off season, it's like your business plan mode, your budget
Yeah.
mode, but so it
All the
feels
fun stuff.
busier. yeah, exactly. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So any fun stories you could maybe tell us about just anything you would have run into
Sure. Oh,
during
gosh.
your time there? I mean, you don't have to tell us all the stories. We kind of put them in here and there as we talk about different stuff.
There's some I'm probably not allowed to use names, and there's some that are probably not quite as PG. But I've, since we've got the best player on the planet on our team, I figured I would maybe tell a few memories of working with Patrick. And so my role when Patrick was drafted, I was really engaged with the players. I was usually planning outreach events with them once a week. And we'll do things with position groups. So it would be the linebackers are going out to do this week. And if it happened to be with youth or education or kids in some form or fashion, that's where I would get involved and get to work more directly with the players. And as a rookie collective group, they'd be the rookie club. And we do a lot of engagements with the rookies. So that long-winded way of saying that year when Patrick was a rookie, I was in the perfect spot to be planning all these events for the rookies and doing things with the rookie club. And,
so cool.
It was really, really neat getting to see someone that you could tell right away was going to be a GOAT. And there's two reasons I'll tell you right off the bat that gave me that. It was
His haircut.
right. Yes, the haircut, the voice and the hair. Yeah, the voice and the hair, and I knew it right there. No. We used to always go to Whiteman Air Force Base on day 3 of the draft, and there was a big draft party at Whiteman, and I sat next to Mitch Holthus on that bus drive down to Whiteman, and you remember we just had traded up to get Patrick, and it was pretty historic, drafting a quarterback in the first round. It was the only time in my entire life that had happened. Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm an
Yeah,
87 kid,
Well,
so
and sitting next to Mitch Holthus, I would pay what you. I mean, I would give anything to do that, and I would just go back and forth, being just like Kansas City.
Yes. This was before the sweet nectar, so I couldn't say we couldn't talk about that. But I'm sure he was already starting to think about those one-liners. So draft night 1 was chaos because we traded up, and we used to have this big draft party in the practice facility, and you're banking on drafting when you draft, and to trade up is wild. Everyone's going crazy. Our hair's on fire. It was wild. And if you remember, we weren't sure which quarterback it was going to be, Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. And so the crowd response was a little mixed. People weren't really sure. So I remember sitting down on the bus ride to Warrensburg with Mitch Holthus, and I'm thinking, Mitch, what do you think of this kid? Was this the right pick? People were kind of mixed. And he looked at me and he said, he could be one of the all-time greats. And I was like,
He could be one of the
have we been drinking on this
greats.
bus?
Right?
It's
You're like,
it's early
first of all,
for
don't
us to
say
get
that
down
out
here,
loud.
Mitch. And I'm like, wow, you've seen a lot of football. And he says something along the lines of, he's in the perfect situation. He's got the perfect coach. And if he just has time, because remember, Alex Smith was on the team. He's like, he's got the perfect mentor. If he just has time to focus on his craft, he's going to be awesome.
Wow.
And
having Alex
he was right.
huge for Mahomes. He talks about it too.
And I think about that, and I'm thinking at that time, Andrew had never seen a quarterback drafted first round, had never seen a quarterback that we drafted win a playoff game. I'm thinking, that sounds cool, Mitch.
Yeah.
I love Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith, you know?
Loving what you're saying.
So that's one where I just knew right away. And then the second one I'll say real quick, more of an abbreviated version. As soon as we draft them and they're in that OTA period where the players are coming to involuntary mini camps during like May, right after the draft, we do a rookie symposium, and they get to meet different departments and kind of get the lay of the land of Arrowhead and the offices. And part of that, as a community outreach department, we would share with them, hey, here are all the ways you can get involved to help the community. Here are all the ways and all the programs that we do, and really the legacy of Lamar Hunt and how that is just continued to ripple effect in Kansas City. And throughout those meetings, I've seen players kind of nodding off, kind of doing their own thing. I mean, it's the end of the day, and they've been through the gauntlet,
cool.
right? So they're
Right.
they're tired and through it. Mahomes is the only player I've seen that had his 5-inch 3-ring notebook, his playbook, was writing notes, was studying it, was like focused and laser focused into an Andy Reid system playbook that is really intense, and he was dedicated from like day one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just wild. So just a couple of short anecdotes on the GOAT, Patrick.
Yeah. Wow.
One of a kind.
He is the
he didn't
GOAT.
disappoint, that's for sure.
He really is. I think he's better than Tom Brady. I know he's only got three rings right now, but I mean, at this stage in Brady's career, he wasn't anywhere near this.
No. I also don't know how involved Brady was in the community, and I don't want to talk poorly because I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like you hear a lot more, and maybe it's just me because I'm in Kansas City, that I hear a lot more about Patrick Mahomes being involved in the community. But I feel like Mahomes is definitely like invested in Kansas City as a whole.
A little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, part owner of the Royals.
Yeah,
And the
I mean,
well, and
not
you,
just
and you've got to give
invested.
you've got to give Brittany a little bit of props here too. You know, she had some bad rap
Input.
about her earlier, but she's done a ton for the community around, and I mean, we have the only. Is it still the only all-women's sports complex?
yeah, I believe so.
dedicated to the team,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It's not only it was the first.
Everyone else shares theirs, and this is theirs. So it's really cool.
I remember those first few seasons with Patrick and our staff, our community outreach staff that got to work with him in some of those community and impactful endeavors, and it was sort of like, is this guy real? Like, he was super involved and like said the right
It's
things.
crazy.
And you saw from an early time period, he wanted to be invested and be a part of the community around him. And I look, it's like, how do people who see us from afar, how do they hate the Chiefs and hate Patrick Mahomes? You know, it's
Yes.
solely because of winning.
It's so
because
weird to
he's
me.
charismatic and
Yeah.
is so supportive of his cast around him and the community around him.
And
Yeah, but
even
they'll try to
NFL
find
players.
any little
I
thing.
mean,
Yeah.
I can count on one hand the times he's done a bad look, and I think it's once. And he felt bad for it. He apologized to Josh Allen. Like, it was that time when
After the game.
Yeah, after the game, and it was pretty much a BS call, you know. And he was right, but he felt horrible for taking that from Josh and not congratulating him. And that was the only time I've seen him do a bad look. And
Listen, after this long and like that many emotions going through, the fact that he's only let out
leader of
one
the team
time,
too.
he's upset.
Leader of the team also. You know, it's.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
With his-
the guy's a consummate professional, way beyond his years. 'Cause
Yeah. I think having his dad and as a professional athlete and getting
Huge.
to grow up in that environment, those intangibles that you learn and that experience probably goes beyond what we could even comprehend. But
Oh, yeah.
considering how the NFL officials are, I don't know how he keeps his composure after every game. I mean, you could
Don't get Bobby started on the
Yeah.
officiating.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few conversations about officiating this season.
Nope. Yep. Looks like your family has to leave here. Your family's. Should I say anything? You got a big family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
No.
I'll just leave it at
I've
that.
got
but
two
you
young
got
girls.
two beautiful girls, and they
They
getting ready
love
to leave.
watching Chiefs football. My little one will yell Patrick Mahomes and Bobby Witt. It doesn't matter which game is playing,
They're
but she'll
very
yell.
charismatic.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
very
Yeah.
charismatic.
Yeah, they're not shy.
Do we let Scotty say bye? Scotty, Scotty.
She wanted to take us to break if we went to break.
Come on over here.
And I have to say, I'm raising them to be young Arsenal fans. We watch Premier League every weekend, and little one here
She
is
is right now.
yeah.
I'm raised to be a young Arsenal fan because we watch the Premier League all the time. Now you guys can get back to the Chiefs while I leave.
Perfect.
That was well said.
Yeah, it's so cute. It's so cute. You guys can't see, but the small ones over here just telling me
Sorry
all
for the
kinds of
distraction.
stories.
Yeah.
Yep, you press it and
Like
it
every
sings.
8-year-old, she wants to be a YouTuber. Wants to have. So this was very intriguing for her to see the camera set up, the
Well,
microphones.
she
and
seemed comfortable behind the mic.
yeah, she really did. She really did.
Well, that's
Oh, now she's
because
coming back for
for
more.
Christmas one year we got them a cool karaoke machine.
Oh, yeah?
That Scotty got to use to wake them up in the mornings.
Yep. And she did.
We always get them loud things.
Yeah, my brother and I always used to do that, compete. I get his kids stuff that was loud. I got him like 1,000 of those little plastic balls one year for my nephews, and they were all over the
amazing.
house. My brother's like, I hate you.
Something actually off Chiefs topic real quick. So Andrew and I know each other well. My wife and his wife have been best friends since they were actually like 3.
Yeah, say kindergarten, pre-kindergarten,
Yep,
pre-K.
Yeah, they were
Formidable years.
Yeah, so they've been friends forever. So his wife has been a great, friend of mine for years too. So we got to go to their wedding, and I want to tell you, this guy, Andrew, had the most amazing thing at his wedding. I've never seen anything like this. So they didn't have a DJ. They had a live band. It was at the Uptown Theater downtown.
Yep.
So there's a cool stage, and it gave the whole atmosphere of like a concert, right? There were still tables and stuff like a wedding, but it gave that auditorium feel. And towards the end of the night, Andrew's friends, his best man and his groomsmen, gave the band a little tip, and Andrew got to be a lead singer for a song.
It was epic.
And
I feel
it
like you're about to
wasn't
pull
bad.
up a video and we're going to watch
Oh,
it.
man. I've got it somewhere. It's on Facebook, I'm sure. It's on, but he
If you find it,
okay,
look in
what
the
was
link below.
the song? It was Lit.
Yes, My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, a
Yep.
classic. He says towards the end of the night, after a few drinks have been had, right? We're celebrating.
Oh, but I'm telling you, he controlled the mic. He was doing the whole thing for you audio listeners. You can't see, but he was doing the whole thing where you like hold it out like the stars, and he came down on his knees and slid up to the front of the stage during one part.
Awesome.
It was all. I couldn't believe. Like, I asked them later, they didn't play it, but you guys did karaoke, right?
Yeah.
You did it a lot. He
Andrew
killed
planned it.
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad karaoke. He killed the song almost like he was the lead singer. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I talk about it with him and his wife all the time. Unreal.
Oh, gosh, man. He really upsells it. It was not planned, but it is one of those where like everyone has their go-to karaoke song,
yeah.
Yep.
right? And this happened to be one where a group of my buddies, good buddies from my fantasy baseball league, we've gone out for our winter meetings every year and multiple times done karaoke, and it ends up me singing Lit, My Own Worst Enemy, and it became kind of a thing, right? And so they shout out Lost Wax Band. So they were the band at that Uptown, and
They were awesome.
They crushed it, and I guess they had that song on ready to go, and so sort of last minute they said, all right, you're going up there, and I told my wife, and she said, yeah, cool, but didn't realize what I said. And I got up there, and I had just enough liquid fuel to
Yep.
feel like I was in the zone, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yep. Like Travis Kelsey or Jason Kelsey says, the proper amount of lubrication.
yes, exactly. I was right in that area.
Sweet
and
spot where
so-
you could still do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Still perform.
Here's what's actually a wild back end capstone to that story is several months later, a friend and coworker of mine who was at the wedding, who has done some mixing and producing and works with some local bands, was actually in LA at a studio, and the lead singer of Lit was there with him. And he's homies with him, and he goes, I have to show you this video of
wow.
my buddy at his wedding
my
singing your
God.
song. And so he sent me a video of the lead singer of Lit watching me perform My Own Worst Enemy at my wedding. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty badass. And I'm like, wow, who would have ever thought of that? So it was like the most random thing.
Well, that was the whole point. The whole point is like somebody could have done this at a wedding, but I don't know if you've just watched like a ton of concerts or whatever, but I mean, we just recently saw Creed. We went there only because we wanted to see Creed Humphrey give away some stuff.
Yeah.
But
it had nothing to do with the band. or the
we
music.
we went and saw Creed, and I mean, you were controlling the stage like a frontman would, and it was
His
just
outreach
amazing
background.
to me.
He's just used to,
Yeah, you
putting
know,
people where they need to be.
It was
and-
just so cool.
Yeah.
I thought I'd
that's funny.
just
That's
share
a funny
that story.
It's all those high school emo bands I used to love to scream and dance
Standing
to.
in front of the mirror.
Yeah, and there it goes. Paid off on my wedding night, of
There you
course.
go.
Just
You're
as they
welcome.
play. Just as they write it up. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, here, just before we talk, because I want to talk the Chiefs a little bit, talk about some recent stuff, and maybe how you feel about what's been going on this season, because you're not there, so
Yeah.
you might have a lot more to say. But first off, though, I want to talk about what you're doing now, because what you're doing now, you've changed jobs and you're doing something really important for the youth ambassadors of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And we recently went to a new office
Your opening, right?
Yeah, grand opening.
right off like 34th and Troost or something like
Yep,
that.
31st and Troost.
Yeah,
and,
so tell us about your new job a little bit.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's, it's a really compelling mission to help empower teens in our community, and Youth Ambassador does that through life skills, job skills, creative expression, adult mentoring, really cultivating this young leader to help impact and create a better good for our community. And to me, with two young girls who were just, leaving here in a chaotic whirlwind, that's important.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's important to me, to help create a better community, a safer community, and doing that is really the upstream approach is really. Yeah, I'm gonna fix me here.
Let me just point it at you.
Yep, the upstream approach is really helping the youth, helping the teens. So Youth Ambassadors, we're an entry-level employment program where teens 14 to 18 can come, be part of weekly programming, community projects, and get paid to do so. So it's it's a really cool program for them to get a little extra money, but also obtain life skills and job skills that will help open up pathways for them.
Yeah, and we came to the opening and just were kind of blown away. I was watching the video that you guys made up of all the different ambassadors telling their stories, and it was hard for me not to have a tear or two come. I did shed a tear or two, but
yeah, I'm happy that you did. It was awesome that you guys came.
It was great. Cody and I got the inside scoop in the ladies' bathroom. That's where we really, get to connect.
That's where all the inside scoop happens,
yeah,
honestly.
obviously. But we got to talk to a couple of the girls, and one of them had just presented, and we were like, "Oh my God, you did great!" And she was like that ball of nerves that you have before you talk in
Yes.
front of a group of people, and all of that was coming down, and she was like, "I don't know, I don't know." That was so scary. It was just so cute, and they're just so thankful for the program, and they're so appreciative, and they really do feel like their lives are on a better trajectory, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about creating awareness and creating connections, and I think being able to have a headquarters and a home base where they can come and feel safe, and we can have programming for them and make those connections is what it's all about. And that grand opening was a celebration because for the almost 15 years prior to me joining Youth Ambassadors, they were sort of working satellite, working from church basement to school, classroom, kind of bouncing
Wherever they
around,
could.
and the kids would follow. I mean, the programming was important for them to be a part of, and helping them reach different chapters of life, and so that was really impactful. And
So cool.
that's our biggest challenge right now is we have almost 500 kids that we served, but a wait list of kids over 100. So continuing to grow and get more kids involved is the goal.
I mean, you only have as many resources as you can get, but I'll get back to that in just a second. I would selfishly, I got to meet Sean Barber at that event, which was a highlight for me. And
shout out Barbershop.
Yep, I didn't give him a card
love.
because I was very nervous talking to him, but he was so nice. It was great. But going more on, you guys are close to another organization. Do you guys have any affiliation with them, or I don't know if I should even bring it up or whatever, but.
With Sean Barber and some of the Chiefs legends?
No, just right down the street from your office.
Oh, with Operation Breakthrough. Yeah. So that's exactly it. We're about a block south. And there's also Reconciliation Services just across the street from us. So there's really a lot of great
lot of help right there.
Yeah, community-focused, youth-focused organizations there. And I think, we are very specific in the 14 to 18 age range. Which is awesome. Operation Breakthrough does a lot for the younger ones as well.
Kids,
so it's sort of this really nice, like, stepping stone, support system there.
And I mean, that area is really starting to look cool. It's crazy because on 33rd and Troost, it's now just a lot, but my dad owned a huge building there for years. It looked like a castle. It had for anybody who remembers back then, it had a steeple like a castle type. It's not a steeple. I forget what you call it, but the castle top thing that comes to a point. And it was right there on the corner, and I worked for 2 different summers, like fixing that up, turned it into one of the largest. Well, we didn't, but we rented it to the people that turned it into one of the largest flea markets in Kansas City. And it's so funny how different the area looks now from back then. So there's a lot of change going on over there, and a lot of It's looking really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Youth Ambassador is really lucky to be in on that forefront. A lot of the buildings across the street from us. We've heard plans on local business owners and restaurants and coffee shops. So it's I think 1 year from now the whole strip's going to look a lot different, and it's just really great to have that area being revitalized.
Definitely. I mean, But going back to, you said you had over 100 kids on the wait list. I assume you guys operate a lot on donors, donations, people of that.
Right?
How can people get involved either with donating or volunteering or anything of that nature?
Yeah, definitely. If this pulls on your heartstrings, I would say go to youthambassadorskc.org and really check out all the different programs that we offer. I mean, if you're someone that wants to be hands-on and be part of a park cleanup or garden restoration or a mural project and want to work alongside our kids, there's plenty of opportunities to do that. But to your point, we have this wait list where we could use some financial help and some donors. So there's a spot where you can donate $20 and you'll know it helps provide new art supplies or goes towards new classroom chairs, and it just helps furnish ours and enrich these kids' lives. So plenty of ways you can be involved. In fact, we're at Chicken and Pickle Overland Park on Wednesday.
The one on 135th and Null, right?
Yep, 135th. Okay. I'll actually have a lot of my own personal Chiefs autographed items up there for raffle. So a Tyreek Hill jersey, a Creed Humphrey, mini helmet, a Nick Bolton photo, and some other Chiefs items. But all proceeds for the ice skate rentals go back towards Youth Ambassadors, and helps us with that wait list and helps us with that furnishment list. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful.
Say ice skate?
I was about to say,
ice skating.
They have ice skating at the Chicken and Pickle.
Minute.
Yep.
Thought it was just
it is a
pickleball.
huge. I haven't been. I've been to the 2 other chicken and
Mm-hmm.
pickles, but I haven't been to that one, which is the one right by my house, which is funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it had ice skating.
Yeah, limited shelf life there for the ice skating. It's only it's only a limited time, and they've got a holiday pop-up.
Oh, so it's like outdoor?
Yeah, it's an outdoor
Okay.
piece, and then they have a holiday pop-up bar, and then we'll be up there. Oh, and I should have, I buried the lead here. We'll have Chris Kringle up there doing photos. So
there we go.
yeah,
When is that, on
exactly.
Wednesday?
So Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, chicken and pickle. You can
On
get
the
a
18th,
That's
December
right.
18th?
Yep,
I
December
might
18th.
know a little bit about being Santa.
Okay.
I might
has-
have been on the news
course he does.
as Santa
Yes.
before.
All right. I do believe that. I do.
Yes.
I will not argue that.
It was in Oklahoma, but
Yes.
I literally was. I got to say,
It was for my clinic. We had a Santa event for children with autism, and
I've been
And
saying
the other
multiple
3
times.
Santas backed out. You were like, Bob, please.
No, I've done it
No,
multiple
I
times.
made him do it. I was
And
like,
I stay in
we're
character
on a
the whole
budget.
time.
You're not getting
course,
paid.
yeah.
you have
You
to.
know, you're gonna be Santa. And I remember getting to the news, and they're like, oh, should we mic up Santa? And I was like, absolutely not.
No. No.
But
He
then
does not get a
she
mic.
asked me a
man.
question, and I looked at her like, and I just did that because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a mic.
Yeah, I took it. I
And she
took
was
it
like,
over.
okay.
Don't you worry. You don't have the answers either, so. you
But
know?
yeah, I mean, I would stay in character even like with just her employees, like no kids. I would just.
Yeah, there were downsides to having him be the
crack
Santa.
up. Well, she might not have liked it, but they ate it up. They were just cracking up because
Oh,
I
they were
just
making fun
jiggle
of
the
you.
belly.
Oh,
and,
man.
But that was one of the, I haven't worked with kids a ton, but I can see how rewarding it is just doing that. The first time I did it, it was children with autism, and so some of them could be challenging. So I was scared to death. But she set me up with, a ringer right off the bat, a really, really nice kid. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like scared to death. And this kid opens the door, and his eyes just light up. And he goes, Santa! And he runs at me, and he hugs me. He goes, oh, I've been waiting so long to talk to you. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
You're like, this is going to be
Oh.
easy.
Really
I
well
am
done.
Santa.
You're
Have you
not
been a
running
good
the
boy?
real kids, that-
Oh,
Just
man.
name it. I'll send it. I promise.
Oh, it was just great. So she definitely set me up for success. Then I did it for a bunch of years after at different locations, Oklahoma, Kansas City. I almost did it this last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
You better be careful. I've got a 5-year-old that would love to meet Santa.
well, so what are any big plans for this next year? We're coming into the new year. You probably got new budgeting things. What's any big plans for the youth ambassadors?
Yeah,
of KC?
youth ambassadors for 2025. I consider myself still a rookie on the team, having joined in July. So I officially hung up the Chiefs hat in June.
That was so sad.
Did not want to go to another training camp. I was sort of ready. I was ready. I was so ready for a new
happen.
switch.
It's gonna happen before training.
Yeah,
Well, and-
exactly. Because once you get started with training camp, you're like you're all wound up and you're kind of ready to go, and you're not done until hopefully mid to late February. But yeah,
And I'm guessing in the Chiefs organization, there's not a lot of people that want to leave. So moving up and getting more responsibility is probably hard.
yeah.
So you had this opportunity to do something bigger and new.
Totally. It was the right time and the right fit for my family and for where I was at, having young girls and really focusing my time and energy on creating a safer community for the youth. And we've got big 2025 plans. So we're having a Topgolf tournament in March. So if you're interested or you got Topgolf friends, come on out. We'll have a big tournament. With our new headquarters there off 31st and Truce, we're looking at just hosting all kinds of fun events for our kids to where they can have a safe place. So watch parties, hopefully a Super Bowl watch party. Art nights, really tapping into some of their creativity and just engaging the community. I think having talked to some of the kids on our program, they're really excited to help support the homeless in our city. They're looking at where they can help dedicate their energy and get their hands dirty and helping the community. And to hear that from a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old that's gone through really significant challenges is inspiring and just fuel for my heart. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
exciting.
It's really cool. And just the help you're giving. It's just it really humbles me to think about all the good you guys are doing. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, appreciate a chance to get to share the mission, and feel free to come out Wednesday and go ice skating, or buy a $10 raffle ticket and see if you can win a Creed Humphrey little mini helmet.
Yeah.
Take it home, and there we go.
Yeah.
Yep,
Don't buy the Tyreek Hill one. We're not there. We're not there yet. We're
And-
not.
I'd be there.
I'm just kidding.
I'd be there. I'd be there for a Tyreek Hill.
I would too.
Memorabilia.
I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If the Dolphins were better, I'd probably be more mad about it.
It'd be worth more.
And that is youthambassadors.org, right?
Yeah, Youth Ambassadors KC.
KC.org. We'll have it in the notes too for the show. So definitely check that out.
Is there, reeling it back to Chiefs, since this is a Chiefs podcast, but is there any Chiefs involvement? Because I know, like, Barber was there at the opening, and you've got some Chiefs connections. Is there any, official, unofficial Chiefs involvement or players that kind of show interest or anything?
Yeah, the Hunt Family Foundation is super supportive,
Cool.
and that's sort of the Chiefs' charitable arm and branch to help support community efforts and nonprofits,
Yeah.
and they've been phenomenal. I mean, they've helped support the event for our grand
Yeah.
opening, and they've been one of our kind of annual partners. So
That's
I'm
cool.
excited to see that, and it's a lot of fun to have those meetings with former coworkers
Yeah.
and friends.
I was gonna say,
And now I'm
you're
on the
kinda,
other
like,
side of the
tying
table.
it
and-
together, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you're like, I didn't completely
So you're still
leave
working
everything.
with the Chiefs, even though you don't work for the Chiefs.
Yeah, in
That is
several ways,
amazing.
it's really neat to see that.
That's so
and
cool.
what I've learned with Kansas City is it's just a small city. I mean,
Yeah.
1 or 2 degrees of separation from folks that it's just like, wow, this is awesome. So I've loved really digging into the community side, the philanthropic side, and just seeing the nonprofit side of our city and all the passionate people that want to make a big impact and a big
Sure.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, you should try having, 6 uncles and a dad that all live in the community too. They really decrease that 2 degrees of separation. To,
Sure, you know everyone. Let's be real.
Yeah,
I
no
don't.
kidding. Yeah.
But they know somebody that is
My dad
related to
knows.
me usually.
Yeah. My dad knows this guy.
Oh, are you related to so and so? I don't know. What do you think of them? Before I answer that question. But yeah, no, that's super cool. Anything else you want to share about the youth ambassadors or the program there?
No, I think that's hit a lot of the key points, and
Covers it.
hope to see you Wednesday. And anytime, come down by our offices at 31st and Troost, and I'll take you to coffee because I love coffee, and there's so many good
Yeah.
shops around, and I can tell you more about what we do.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. All right. Well, Bobby always leaves us at transition moments. I don't
Yeah,
know if you've
yeah, he does. He likes to
You'll
do that.
learn that.
Okay.
But yeah. So I guess let's talk.
Let's talk about the Chiefs.
Nah. What else could we talk? I'm just kidding.
Okay, so
well,
this is the New Jersey.
It is, yeah, brand new for me. Yeah.
Okay, tell
Huge
me.
gift.
Okay, a gift.
Yes.
Let's talk about your Chris Jones Stone Cold jersey.
Well, I know my other brothers aren't watching. Okay, so check this out. So my brother that's closest to me in age, had some personal struggles over the last 6 months. And in our family, we've got kind of a large family. We don't have a lot of money, so at Christmas time, we do like a Secret Santa type deal,
Yeah.
right? So I have one person to buy a gift for, and that's that kind of thing. So when my brother went through his thing, I was very supportive, and I was there for him as much as I could be. And he told me after. So the other thing is my father passed away December 12th of last year. So we just had an anniversary
man.
dinner. And as I was leaving with my son, my brother came out and said, "Hey, look, I'm just so thankful for all that you've helped me with in the last few months, and you guys are doing so great with this podcast, so I thought I'd give you a gift." And immediately I knew it was a jersey. It was still in the bag. And I looked at him and I said, "If this is a Kadarius Toney jersey, it's not funny."
What about Sky Moore?
And so then,
Bono.
Sky Moore would be whatever. So then he gave it to me, and I was, of course, over the moon. And he said he called Bob to ask for advice on which player to get me. And
Job, Bob.
there was really no wrong. You know,
Yeah.
Karloftis, you could give me a
Sky Moore was wrong.
Hopkins. Yeah, Sky Moore would have been wrong.
Yeah,
But I still would have loved
there
it.
are wrong answers.
So now I've got 2 Hall of Famers. I've got a Mahomes jersey and I've got a Chris Jones
Yeah.
jersey.
I
Phenomenal.
almost took a chance. It was like get him a Hicks jersey. But
I would have loved that.
I really
Absolutely.
think Hicks is going to be a
I
star in
would've
the future.
loved that.
So, but
Should've taken
I
a
figured
chance,
no
though,
wrong.
you know?
Jones,
Yep.
future Hall of Famer, definitely is going to go down as a Chief. Spent the majority of his career here. He could do a Tony Gonzalez and retire someplace
Oof,
else.
hope not. Can I give you a cliche thing?
Tony, shame on you.
Like the leadership intangible in the locker room. Chris Jones is a rally. He rallies the guys. He is, he's that ball of energy that gets everyone together. And
He seems like such a nice guy.
yeah, like that. That's important for a locker room.
Of
I
all the
always
guys on the
thought
team.
he looked like such a mean dude on the sidelines, and and then I finally had him. He was on New Heights, and I was just like, this guy is amazing.
Like, this guy's hilarious.
riot.
Like,
Of all the
he's
guys
so
I want to drink a
funny.
beer with, he'd be number one
Oh
on my
my
list.
God,
100%. You know that
Oh, yeah.
his stories would be epic.
So I don't know if I'm even allowed to mention this one. There might be a few of these stories tonight. Are you familiar with his NFL draft tape?
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and his 40-yard.
Oh yeah, at the combine.
Yeah, the 40-yard.
It just came
Oh,
out,
something came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and it was not something
little,
small.
little Chris, as he would say. So,
Little Chris.
I mentioned there are times where you go into the cafe for your lunch break, and there'd be players hanging out, eating at tables, like literally from here to there, like right next to you, right? And there's always some kind of sports game, sports action going on in the TVs in the room, the cafe. This just happened to be the time where they were showing the draft combine tape from that year, the 40-yard dashes from that year. And of course, who was in the cafe eating lunch that day was Chris. And so we're sitting there, and we're all like noticing this moment's about to happen. And another one of our coworkers were like, "Man, say something, you know?" And leads back, he's like, "Chris, check it out. You remember your 40-yard dash?" And I think everyone hit the floor laughing so hard. And Chris included, you know. He's such a character.
yeah.
He's like, "Oh, man, you know, just, yeah." Just so funny, but yeah. Yeah, sorry.
That's great.
No,
Well,
those are great.
so yeah, what have you thought about the Chiefs' season so far? It's been interesting to say the least. I mean, almost like a season of destiny. It's like the football gods will not let us lose no matter what. But the football gods is really just the team, and somebody always coming through.
It's the clutch gene.
Some way.
Yeah.
Like they have the clutch gene.
You can't say it's predictable. You know?
Nope,
Yeah.
definitely not.
How do you measure it? But it's there. and it keeps working.
I know.
They
Well,
keep
it's-
winning.
It's not there now because we don't think Mahomes is going to play this week. So I think the it is Mahomes.
The magic.
Well,
the Mahomes
Save,
magic.
save that though, because I do want to talk about. I want to ask that question, or pose that question real quick. But yeah, how do you feel about the season so far? I mean, it's the best record we've had in the Mahomes era at this time.
Isn't that wild? Because it feels like we have yet to find that rhythm. It's sort of been disjointed, like kind of clunky, and then you think, wow, that's sort of been the recipe the last couple of years, and it's still working. And the clutch gene, I think, is legit. Like the fact that they can continue to grind out these games where it's not working and walk away with a win is remarkable. And
Impressive.
when I decided kind of for a new journey in July, I told my coworkers, I have no doubt you're gonna win 3 straight. I really feel like it, and I think that now they're gonna win 3 straight. I just figured it would be like scorched earth, like Mahomes with a full repertoire of weapons
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
was gonna just roll through, and I think you started to see those weapons get injured and things get pulled away, and it's like now we're just kind of winning any possible way we can, but yet they do. So
Me too.
Yep.
It's almost like Mahomes is rubbed off on everybody else, and he needs to have time to regenerate his magic within. You know?
Recharge.
He's given his magic to other people, and
Right.
he needs time to rejuvenate that magic. Which brings me to my next question.
Our next question.
Well, here you go ahead and
It
pose
was funny. We were talking on the way up here, and I was like, "Man, I've got a question." He's like, "I've got a question," and we ended up having the exact same question. Okay, so if you know for a fact, just for sake of argument, Mahomes we're going to get the bye if Mahomes plays. But if he plays and he's injured, there's possible worse injury there. So should we sit him with the potential of losing that first round bye? Bob and I agreed.
Yeah, the first round bye and that extra rest is so important.
It is.
And having the home field advantage, so important. Oh, nice. We got a little garage beer action.
Yep.
Wait, everybody but me.
Well, should we get 4? I'm sorry. Sean, the manager here.
I don't blame you,
great
Sean.
guy.
Don't you worry.
No, I actually did get it for you. His was full, so I actually.
Oh.
But
Well, you can have one.
So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, good question he just posed, and he said it was actually both of your questions
yep.
regarding playing Mahomes and the first round bye, and without not a medical doctor in the room, and high ankle sprains. Having had one as a high school soccer player, those things just linger and linger and linger, and they don't ever seem to get any better. And when you think they do, it's like you roll it, and then you're back to where you started.
And he's played through one in the past, just last year, or was it the year before?
Year before.
Yeah,
before.
There's been a few of them, and I think you do what it takes and prioritize getting that first round bye.
Do you think so? Okay. See, I disagree. I think that the first round bye isn't going to mean much if Mahomes gets beat up more. And Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He's not Mahomes. He's not a premier quarterback.
No, but as a
But
backup.
he can. I mean, he's probably one of the best backups in the league.
I'd say he's probably a top 36, top 40 quarterback, which makes him like an elite backup quarterback and a great resource to have.
And with Andy Reid having time to game plan.
So having the bye is really big, yes. But we've seen Mahomes and company rise to the occasion last year. If we get to that occasion and we have the bye and Mahomes can't play because he's super injured, boy, I don't know. And I've seen Mahomes' long throws, and his ankles have been hurting because that's the reason. I'm pretty sure. I'm speculating, of course, but I'm pretty sure that's why he's overthrowing on the deep balls. He still could do his crazy ones because he was always just using upper body to do that anyhow. He wasn't ever using proper foot mechanics. But every time he's thrown a deep ball in the past, back when we had, Tyreek Hill, he would set his feet properly. So I fear that we won't have that option if he doesn't get himself a little bit more healthy. So it's such a rock and a hard place, right?
I think what you have to think about, though, is giving him 2 weeks to rest really going to make that much of a difference? Or are you just saying we don't want him to get hurt? Because if we don't want him to get hurt, then he's going to, I think we rest him this week. I think he plays on Christmas, and then I think we rest him the bye week.
That's what I was thinking. Or
So-
at least see how he feels Christmas.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, Netflix is going to be real pissed if we rest him on Christmas.
And,
But-
I mean,
That's
Carson,
all right. They deserve it after that Tyson fight.
Carson Wentz will probably be hurting pretty bad after Saturday with the line problem.
Well, we have some wiggle room, right? Like, I say prioritize getting that first round bye, but not at the expense of a long-term injury. Like, since we have some wiggle room, we can rest him versus Houston,
Right.
and not have that short rest Christmas game to worry about. And we win on Houston, okay, maybe we're going to rest him on Christmas.
Yeah.
We lose on Houston, now we can kind of evaluate where he's at, and
Or
he's
maybe
got
part of the time.
some rest.
Maybe part of the time, right? Like maybe we rest part of the game, but I think it inevitably comes down to if we're going to get, I would rather us get the bye because those are more impactful games where he's going to put everything on the line. You know Mahomes is going to put everything on the line in a playoff game. And if we get an extra week for him to rest before he gets into a playoff game, I think the game plan has to change if Mahomes does go in. I think they have to protect the passer more. I think they have to settle with running and figure it out and kind of go with that. And I think that they need to tell Mahomes, I'm taking you out of the game if you try to do your crazy shit. You know?
Well, and another good point to think about, this is such a hard question. And I don't, Andy Reid and the coaching staff, I'm sorry you guys have to make this call, because there's also the point that all of the Chiefs are going through this 11-day gauntlet of a crazy schedule. So that bye lets the entire team rest, which, as we've seen, we need the entire team at least this year. So, and I mean, I would beg to argue that the entire team was involved in years past. It's just Mahomes was putting up flashy stuff, so that's what everybody focused on. But yeah, that's where it's really scary, because that bye would allow for so much healing, because there's a week break, right? And then the bye. So it's like a good 3 weeks off.
Almost a month,
which could help the whole team tremendously.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. We had such an early bye week this season that the team's been running on fumes. And then to have this, 3 games in 11 days and then not get a bye, I feel like we're really pushing our team to the limit. Granted, we're getting a lot of fresh players back, so all our injuries are kind of...
Yep, Hollywood, always up to no good, coming back. Pretty excited about that.
He might play this week.
I hope so.
Crazy.
Get him some reps. Get him in there. Get him some reps.
To see him. Even if it's just with Carson.
See, well, that's that's how I feel. Sit Carson sit Pat for just 1 week, and also give Carson Wentz, because he looked pretty shaky coming in at the end of the game. If we needed him to come in during a playoff game or the Super Bowl, it'd be nice for him to have a couple in-game reps. It's been a few years since he's really played a full game.
Wouldn't be shocked if they make the call sooner than later, so that we can build up Carson Wentz, in the next handful of days. Like you give him the keys now, but I guess you do take that factor of what if out of the Texans on what they should prepare for. But
now we're not going to tell anybody.
Oh, I feel like they made that decision before the game was over. That next week Mahomes is going to sit. Let's go full bore on Carson Wentz and game plan for him, and then we'll tell everybody that, we're not sure what's going to happen.
Exactly. Decision's been made. I bet you they're building a really scheme and plan for Carson, and it's going to be
fun
and
to
Mahomes
watch.
is sitting there real mad in the corner. Like,
Carson's still got some skills.
And maybe just an extension of what we've seen given the offense and the lack of weapons, and just really lean into some of those guys.
And the only reason he
Carson's
struggled
got
is just
the
'cause
deep ball, too.
It wasn't planned. They didn't have a plan for Carson Wentz to come in at the end of that game. So, of course, he looked rusty. Did you look how surprised he was? When they're telling Mahomes you're not going back out there, he was like, I got to take my hat off? I got to take my hat off and put my helmet on
for months.
Has anybody seen my helmet?
It was great, because most backup quarterbacks would have already been doing that, but he was like,
but it's Mahomes.
Mahomes isn't going to let them take him out.
Yep.
I'm surprised Mahomes let him take him out.
He argued.
But I mean, arguing as opposed to last year when he threw the tablet down and ran on his hurt leg.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's a playoff game where he's going to stay in and do whatever he can. Like this, he knows we're already a game ahead. Like he knows even if we're
two games ahead.
We were at least.
No, we're only.
At that point, because
the Bills
have 3 losses now.
They have 3.
But I think,
a little cushion.
We're only one game ahead, because if we go down 2 games and tie, then they have the tiebreaker, unfortunately.
So I think at that point he's like, okay, we're down 2 scores, or we're up 2 scores. I'll let Carson go in for a little bit, but if they score, I'm going to fight even harder. You know, like that's what he said. He said if they scored again, I was going to fight to get back in the game.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to. And I guess we have a good
I
defense.
do think that's a great observation on the deep ball accuracy being a little off with the ankle injury. I think the backbreaker skill set or thing that Mahomes brings is when it's that 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, and he doesn't see any of his options open and he just scrambles. That the opposing fan base. I mean, it's what we used to do with Elway.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it's infuriating to see. You take away all of his options, you take away it all, and yet there he goes.
Yep.
So that high ankle sprain takes that element out,
Does
or
it, though?
opens him up for a bigger hit and a bigger injury.
Yeah.
That I just think that's on their mind. And
You remember because I was listening to Nick Wright, who's my favorite person in the world, and he was talking about how 2 years ago he had the high ankle sprain. I think it was in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl,
And
yep.
he, I think the winning play was him, the winning definitive play that got us to win the game was him rushing for 15 yards.
Oh, he's
on
Superman.
The high ankle
Juking.
sprain.
he's
right?
Superman. He
Yep.
can do it.
And then, it's just nuts. And I'm like, well,
I just want to see it in the Super Bowl and not in week
yeah.
15.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
give him some time.
I even remember the Super Bowl we lost, and I still to this day claim Patrick was sick. He was white as a ghost, pale as everything. I've never heard anything if he was or not, but I'm still pretty sure he was. But that guy, on one of the passes, I'll still never forget it. He is parallel with the ground. He was falling, and he was literally parallel with the ground. Right arm towards the ground, and he throws the ball.
Like 50
and I'm
yards.
and he hits
On a dime.
Yeah, and our receiver didn't catch it.
It's right in the
But
face.
Yeah.
it hit him right in the face. Yeah, and it was just wow.
Well, because the receiver's like, oh, he's falling. There's no way the ball's coming my way.
Now, to their credit, the announcers that were announcing the game, they did say that. They were like, "Look at the accuracy," but the guy's got to make a catch.
Yeah.
Oh, last year was the worst, though, with the catches.
Oh, with Kadarius
so
Toney?
many.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And Sky Moore.
But yeah, talking about an offense just feeling clunky and not doing it, and then all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like they get to January and those guys, it's like a whole different.
There
They
was
get
a-
it together.
Yeah, it's weird.
There was supposedly. Did anybody check Myles Garrett's presser?
I did.
No.
I did, yeah.
No.
Did you guys hear about Myles Garrett saying he overheard the Chiefs' offensive line complaining about Mahomes holding onto the ball
Yeah.
for too long?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't
whoa,
believe
controversy.
it. He's a troll.
He's a troll.
Yeah, I don't believe it. He's just trying to stir up some
I don't know.
stuff.
I have no
No.
idea, but that's what I've been complaining about with Mahomes, and I've been thinking it's Matt Nagy. I'm like, dude, Matt, you need to put a lot more quick slants in the playbook if we have an offensive line that's struggling.
Yeah.
But
I think Mahomes is
it's
trying to get
interesting
some of
to
the
see
deep
that.
balls. I think
He's as
Well,
frustrated as we are.
And it
Yeah.
could have been.
Yeah.
We talked about this in the episode prior, after the game. We talked about. I really feel like they knew they were in well control and they were testing stuff this last game. That's why they did so many deep. Mahomes threw more deep passes than like any 3 games of the season combined in just that one game.
Yeah.
But I think they were testing stuff. Unfortunately, we never know,
Yeah.
for sure. But that's what it
And
felt
unfortunately,
like.
they
But
didn't catch any
it
of
was
them.
interesting if the offensive line was actually bitching about that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that report. Part of me leans to thinking
Yeah, it's another
that's
player.
maybe a trolling attempt.
It could
Yeah.
definitely
just
be.
because I know that unit on the O line is so damn protective over their guy, right?
Oh,
Um,
and I'm sure if it actually happened, I'm sure it was like, God damn, Pat, stop holding on to the ball so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
I just want to keep you safe, man.
Yeah.
Like type
Oh,
of deal. But
yeah.
okay, for anybody at home that doesn't know what a troll is is something we found out when the internet came out. It's somebody that says something controversial that they might not even believe in or might be a lie just to get you upset. That is what a troll is.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to start throwing out their names and slander. What did we ever figure out what happened to Myles Garrett with the helmet eye injury?
Well,
I don't know, but Joe
Tooney
Tooney looked like he felt
apologized.
bad.
Well, he said Joe apologized to him twice. He apologized after the play, and then after the game, he came up to him again.
Yeah, I
and
saw that after the
he said
game.
he's a classy guy. He's a good guy. He apologized. So,
It was
none but love and respect.
I just wonder if that factors into some of the playground talk afterwards. Maybe
Well,
I don't know.
I don't like what was scary because I don't like injuries on any side of the ball. I've talked about this on
It's the worst part of
the
it.
podcast.
Worst part of
I
it.
could count on one hand the only players, and it's less than a hand, that I would want to get injured, and they're very bad people. But it's very few people. But yeah, and I wouldn't even want them to get like super injured. I just want them to like hurt.
That was the hardest. You're
just
right.
for
right.
the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a short period.
Yeah.
That's what everybody says. Like, can he just stub a toe?
Yeah, seriously.
But
His stomach bug for 4 hours. But yeah.
What was scary is he's like, and then he like struggles and freaks out and pulls
the helmet
his helmet out. And I've had an eye injury before where I thought I poked my eye out, and that was how I reacted.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he thought was going on, and he was like, and he's like smacking at it, and he's like, I mean, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I felt with him I felt empathetically with him, and it scared the crap out of me. But it had to have just been shrapnel or dust because I didn't see a finger go in.
Right.
No, but Tooney did apologize several times, so he felt
You knew there was some
something
sort of
happened.
contact that warranted.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just glad the helmet came off. He didn't start swinging it, because
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
had
yeah.
that a
Yeah.
few times. But telling you that it honestly was the hardest adjustment for me as a Chiefs employee watching the games was the injuries with the guys. You'd
I
get to
bet.
know some of them on a level, and you would know their hearts and know the type of character that they were, and
Break
to
your
see
heart
them,
even more.
you'd see them make a play or miss a play, and you'd be like highs and lows living with it. But the injuries, man.
And you said your office was right down the hall too, so you saw that happening.
Yeah, you could feel that energy, and
Yeah.
it's just
Did you ever have anybody from Vegas like calling you up, like, "All right, tell me the scuttlebutt. What's going on?
Oh, man.
who's going down there?"
There are annual meetings about all of that, where
Yeah,
they're
I'm sure.
very, very zoomed in on making sure that there's
Oh,
not
yeah.
some integrity issues there with gambling, and it just gotten more intense over the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
And since leaving the Chiefs, that's now I'm opened up. I'm able
That's
to.
something you've been
I'm able
able
to say,
to
hey,
enjoy.
I
We were
think I'm
talking
gonna
about
throw
that today.
$5 on a touchdown. I could
Yep.
never do that before, and
Yep.
it was it was kind of fun.
Yeah, we were able to talk. We were talking today. And you're like, this is so cool that we can do that. And, I mean, we're lucky to be on the Kansas side where everything's completely legal. So,
Yep.
not
Kinda fun.
everything we love is legal. Work on that, Kansas.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we have to pretty much sign our name in blood that we will not touch DraftKings or FanDuel or any of the others that I probably shouldn't be mentioning on air. But
until they sponsor us.
yes, right.
But yeah, speaking of injuries and kind of weirdly, I feel bad for him because of his specific injury. It's mental, but I'm happy we got rid of him because I've never really liked him as a Chief. Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire we let go today.
Really?
He seems like a great guy, but I've just never liked his style of running, and I've never thought he was giving us his all, and could have been because of his PTSD. I don't know, but I'm happy for the Chiefs to cut ties, but sad for him.
Yeah, I think Clyde. It's sad that I think his legacy might be using a first-round pick on him. Might be that he, underfulfilled
Yeah,
what those
100%.
expectations were.
As a first-round pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
as
if
a
we
first-round
had
pick,
gotten
right?
in the 4th or the 5th, I would have been like, this guy's completely fine for that. You know,
and we've seen a system that continually plugs in running backs that are off the undrafted or free agent heap, and they're successful. And this is hard for me to separate my personal feel towards a guy. I think he's an awesome guy. The locker room loves him, good personality. And
that's what everybody says.
Not
Everybody
necessarily
says he's
sure that we used him to the best of his skill set, which could be injury related, could be whatever situation. But
I don't know that I'm right, but I felt like if we were more of a pulling line rushing team, like a Philadelphia, where your guards and for anybody who doesn't know what it means, it's where your whole line kind of pulls to the other side, and like say you're running to the left, like the right guard and the center would move around to the other side and grab the other guys. The Chiefs don't really do much of that. They're a run through the line type of rushing team, and I don't know that that's something. It seemed like he needed more time to see his hole and his lane, and I don't think he ever had that. It always just seemed like he just hit the line and fell.
I wanted more passing game action. I saw when we drafted him, and this was the lazy man comp that every analyst was making, but it's like, oh, we just got Brian Westbrook, because Brian Westbrook was an absolute stud in Coach Reid's offense in Philly, and it was 12 carries, but you're catching 7 or 8 passes, and it was just a paper cut attack, with a dynamic type guy. And I don't know if it's injury related or scheme related, but Clyde just never really became that type of role in the offense. And love the guy. I'm glad he's been part of some world championships. And I don't know what the rules are or how the fine print works, but if we could figure out a way to keep him on the practice squad and keep him around, I think that would be awesome. But I don't know how that works with eligibility and all that.
I mean, I feel like he's going to find a spot someplace as long as he can get on the field. I honestly don't know how much of it was him being cool and letting the Chiefs keep him on IR rather than him. I mean, I just don't know, because he did go on IR when we really needed him to go on IR for different roster moves. So yeah. But
I mean,
I feel like he could definitely play. I feel like his time here was done, and he wasn't going to get anything. And we've seen other players go to other systems
after
and stuff
getting
too.
Hunt. I think that was kind of the Hunt, and then having Pacheco come back. It was like, okay, there's not really a place for you on this team anymore. But one thing I want to get your opinion on, Andrew, is we have a lot of discussions about Hunt versus Pacheco, and I think there's a lot of Pacheco has the heart and that mentality that you just fall in love with and you want to love, but Hunt's producing quite a bit, and I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think that they should split evenly? Do you think one is more premier than the other?
I think that good question, and I think first let me say the arc of Kareem's career storyline coming back to Kansas City in this redemption mode, absolutely love it. He was one of those guys as a rookie. He was part of Mahomes' class.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've got fond memories of him as a youngster on the team, and just that camaraderie and just positive attitude.
Ooh, when we let him go, I think the entire Chiefs community, before we saw, all the stuff,
happened,
right, and everything. Right. But letting him go, we were like, are you sure?
Yeah.
How bad was it?
Was shocking. I mean, he was a kind of a quiet, shy guy, and I just didn't ever think that there.
And it was before an investigation had done everything. But we all know the story there. But
So I'm just thrilled that his career has led him back here, and he's able to shed wisdom on some of the younger guys about, hey, here's a mistake that I've learned and lived and grown from.
1 year too late for Rice, but hopefully he'll get there.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully that's a learning. Yeah, exactly. And so I think Kareem's impact to this team this year has been amazing in the fact that no one expected him to bring that that dimension to our run game when we lost we lost Pacheco. And so now that Pacheco's back, I think we probably start to see it fade more heavy towards Pop. But man, just even if Hunt were to get injured and not play the rest of the season, I think we all owe him a big pat on the back
100%.
for what he could bring, the stability, the clock control, and just he had a little mojo to his runs.
Oh, yeah.
Too. He was running people over, and
I mean, if he falls off a cliff at this point, what he did while Pacheco was out to keep this team where we were,
and we were
record-wise.
wide on him. I mean, he was having 30-plus runs a game, and he's not a young buck here.
If he had stayed in Kansas City, he was arguably the best running back in the league when we let him go. I mean, definitely top 3. But the reason we let him go, at least what Clark says and what a lot of people have said, is because he lied about what happened.
Yeah, we talked.
And I was listening, but what he did was ugly, but what was said to him and what the other person did was ugly too. So it was ugly and it was bad.
You know
and
what,
he should have
like,
just told the truth, and I think he would have been still a Chief if he hadn't lied. I mean, Tyreek Hill went through stuff. The Chiefs, Clark sticks with people, but if you lie to him, But it's so cool that they gave him a chance to come back.
Second chances.
That's the thing.
And
That's what I love is that he was able to, you live and you learn and you make mistakes and you have to learn that there's consequences to those mistakes. And he had a big one, right? Like he lost being on the multi-championship team of the Chiefs and he lost all of that. And now to get him to come back and help us potentially go to a three-peat and just be a better guy
it's a
and
cool
understand
story.
that he
Nick Chubb came out in his presser prior to play the Chiefs and just had nothing but good things to say about him.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was a good thing for him as a young guy. He had a lot of family close when he went to the Browns, and so
if he had gotten away with it and still kept his job, I don't know if he'd be the man he is today.
Yeah.
Right.
This whole redemption, tour, if you will.
I love it. It's been
the best part of this season for me personally, having worked with Kareem personally and seen that and been part of that, and just to see it all come back. I love that. Those are those stories that make sports so much more beyond the end result of a game.
Yeah. You were a Jamie Lannister fan in the end, weren't you? Even though the show messed it up. I don't think that was George's plan for his end, but
I wanted him to run away with Brienne of Tarth, but yes. But yes, I did love the fact that I hated him early on. I did not hate Kareem. Let's take that out. But we're talking about Kingslayer. I was like, I don't know so much about him. And then later on, I'm kind of like, exactly.
I love a good redemption story because I had a troubled past in my youth, and I am a redemption story. So that's a story for maybe it never. But
Coach Reed is the ultimate bear hug. Let's bring you in and let's help you through this.
Oh God, he brought in
the right situation, the right leadership, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
So talking about mentorship and how Kareem came in and kind of helped a little bit. What about the addition of DeAndre Hopkins?
Before you go on to Hopkins, we didn't get a solid answer here. I feel like you have to make a choice. You're choosing Pacheco?
Oh, yeah.
He did. He said he thought he...
in terms of higher workload as we get later into the season, I think we're going to see heavier on Pop. I think.
Is that what you want, though?
I think it should be still run-focused. I think that the run game opens up everything, protects Pat. I mean, what's the best way to neutralize an edge rusher? Not dropping back to pass 40 times a game. Quick options, quick reads, quick run game attack, and
we saw a lot of runs to Myles Garrett's side, to the left side this last week, and when you run into that pressure, a lot of time it negates the pressure, and it kind of got rid of the advantage that they had with Myles Garrett.
The run didn't go very far.
No, they did all right. They did okay.
Stick to it. Rely on those 3 all-pro interior offensive linemen. I mean, goodness, Trey Smith and Tooney and
Tooney
Kareem,
really
those guys are.
stepping up too.
I love
this
those
last
guys.
week.
They're just so good. So
Yeah. Speaking of Trey Smith, he was in the if you had stayed with the Chiefs, you might have been in the Hallmark movie.
yeah.
You could have been the guy
Yeah.
that says, "Hey, Trey, come sign the Christmas card."
Yeah, I was involved in the so last year we did a little sizzle commercial, like a fake promo for it, and it was all towards the holiday playoff campaign, not realizing this could get made into an actual movie. And,
That's
and then when
hilarious.
it took off, went viral, and Hallmark picked it up, and it was like, they're going to sign a deal, it's going to be a movie. I'm like, what universe are we living in? This is wild, you know? But
Hey
yeah, a lot of
there,
former
Lucas.
coworkers in that, and it's just like kind of fun to see that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. The what's his name? He's always on the shows, Rewind and stuff with Mitch Holtis afterwards. I really like him, but I always forget his name.
Matt McMullen.
Yeah,
Yeah, McMullen is
Yeah.
one of the best humans I think I've ever met.
Really?
Honestly, oh
He
my
looks
god.
like
Seems
just
like a
really
good guy.
nice person.
Yes,
I just
what you see is
remember-
exactly what you get. He's like the
Yeah.
What was
nicest dude.
Jacksonville. He was like, "Well, I want to get in that hot tub." They're like, "Why don't you go try?" And he was like, "All right." And then you see him next, and he's in the hot tub in his pants,
Yep.
and he's like, "I'm here." And it went from just a ton of really gorgeous girls in the hot tub to just all kids.
Yeah,
and he was like, I was like, "Well, you didn't get up there fast enough, did you?" Oh, man.
But now you can talk about Hopkins. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah, D Hop.
Yeah, so Worthy has been stepping up the last several weeks and making more effort at running routes and whatnot. And I'm assuming that's a DeAndre Hopkins influence, and he's in DeAndre Hopkins' face and telling him, teach me, tell me everything you know, give me all the secrets. Has he not been an amazing addition to this team since he came here?
Consummate pro. I mean, Hopkins is
Can we keep him here? I mean, it's
I
been
know.
great
No
having
kidding.
that type of guy in our wide receiver room,
Just
especially.
like catching it, just
Yes.
like always catching it.
Yes.
We don't have the record that
Consistency.
we have
Yeah.
today if we didn't add him to the roster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think the intangibles of teaching the young guy like Worthy is huge. And man, I think Worthy's just been a click off with Patrick a few times this year. And if 2/3 of those click, his numbers look way better, and you're all of a sudden
So
thinking,
much.
wow.
And his numbers aren't bad.
No,
He's-
they're good.
I mean, he has six TDs, two rushing, but the number one, the I forget the name of him, but the wide receiver rookie that has the most TDs has 7, and they're receiving, but he has no rushing. So I mean, Worthy's looking pretty good. I think a lot of people are over expecting for a rookie.
I think we
I
all
think
kinda did
there's a
with
lot
the
of
injuries.
criticism because it keeps putting his foot out of bounds, when he gets it on the
It's
sideline.
just a toe.
Stop.
Yeah.
This last game, that didn't happen once.
I know he did, and I
Thank goodness.
gave him props.
know.
I cheered for him. I said you did great, but there was a couple ones.
Last year we saw them really ease Rashee Rice into a role. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like 8 weeks into the season plus, until we started seeing kind of what he was clicking. And I think perhaps that was the same plan with
Yeah.
Worthy. But when you lose all these weapons, Hollywood and Rice, and Pacheco early in the year, it kind of forces you to be.
Well,
Here you are, like you're in this role now, and we need you. And then so you've seen some little missteps, a little off on timing, but I'm really optimistic that you get Rashee Rice back next year. You get Worthy with some of this experience and development.
Keep
You're
Hopkins.
going to see, and maybe you convince Taylor to let Travis play one more year. But it's just they've been off just a little bit, and you're starting to see like this last game that clicking, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Well, and you talk about that unfair for Worthy, to be thrust into that. Same for like Carson Steele. I mean, thrust into having to,
Hold on to the
take
ball?
over and be the number one running back as an undrafted free agent.
One
I mean,
game.
Yeah, but that's a lot of pressure on a young guy, and I think it really set him back with confidence with his fumbles there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it hurt bad But I think he's going to be good, and he's up for the Pro Bowl. He really is, because there's no fullbacks. There's no fullbacks.
Because he's the only fullback in the league.
Yep.
Oh, that's
no,
great.
I mean, he had his moments. I mean, he did. Steele did. But I'm excited about Worthy. I think that Worthy's going to come in his own. I think the position that he plays and the deep balls that he's trying to catch, I think there's so many things that you have to consider with that, with timing, with route running, with adjusting your routes to the defense, and that communication with Pat that just takes time. And I think it's unrealistic to think that he could just come out, run. Like, sure, if there was no defenders, he could run down the field and catch a bunch of balls. But that communication with Pat and getting on the same page, and Pat having to adjust with just Worthy and not Hollywood anymore, and not Rice anymore, and not, and then the line being so, crappy.
Right.
Yeah. I think all of those impact it, and I think we are seeing him come into his own, and I think we're utilizing him better. I think we're utilizing him in the run game. We're utilizing him with the jet sweeps. We're utilizing him, down the field, but also in the slot. And I think that all of those things are playing a part in kind of building up his confidence.
Yep. But we are nearing to a close here, so I have one last question, but I wanted to give the other hosts a chance. If you have one last question you want to do, or one last quick topic you want to broach.
No, the only thing I wanted to say is, I mean, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight, Andrew. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Well, I got one
I know
more question.
you do, but I just wanted to say thank you before we
definitely
moved on. But
it's been fun.
I've had a blast tonight, man.
Yeah,
some great
this is great.
stories.
Definitely, and there's a lot more, so hopefully you'll have me back.
Listen,
Okay.
he's married any of these stories, and I'm starting to believe it's Cody's fault. So
Well, it's
I'm
because
gonna
you're
need
always talking to Cody and I'm talking to Andrew.
I tell these stories to Cody. It just blurs all together.
Yeah.
She's like, "You have to work tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, never mind."
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get her there.
For sure.
We'll see. We'll get AJ or Scotty into Taylor Swift and.
Look, I can tell you, like, Cody, when we first started dating, could not have named one Chiefs player. She could have maybe recognized Coach, right? I mean, who can't? But now she is watching and cheering and yelling at the TV. So I feel like
she's got 13 jerseys.
Yeah, she's really yeah, exactly. She got all this merch that she's like, "What are we doing with?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Before
We have to have the proper
I
outfit.
will say, recently, if she invites me to a Chiefs game, I'm like, okay, maybe. Before, she'd be like, hey, do you want to come over for the Chiefs game? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to come over for Chiefs because you're going to try to talk to me, and I want to watch the game, and you're going to just, like, want to hang out.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
She gets just as worked up as I do, which is that's saying a lot.
Like, that's my
Another
girl.
Chiefs fan to Chiefs Kingdom.
Yep,
Welcome.
exactly.
Listen, like 5 or 7 years ago, she didn't even watch TV. I was like, what do you mean you don't watch TV? Yeah, so you've done good.
All right,
Good job,
here we go.
I
Way to
approve.
go.
It's working.
But I want to know, here's my last question, is what, and we've kind of asked this, but not really, but tell me, like, who was the player on the Chiefs that you felt like was the most, like, welcoming and just, like, the nicest person that people wouldn't expect?
I don't know. People may expect this, but Dustin Colquitt was one of the nicest humans.
Yeah.
Nicest humans I've ever met. Love Dustin. And really James Winchester, like the whole special teams unit. Those two guys specifically are amazing, top-notch individuals.
Yeah.
But also with a pedigree, kind of like what you talked about with Mahomes. He'd been there before. He grew up with a father that was in the major leagues. The Colquitt family is famous for punting.
Yeah.
So
the brother and the
Colquitt
dad.
He was our MVP for a couple years
he
there.
was
Like
so good.
What amazing punter.
And I think he's got like
Everybody needs a kicker.
He's got like 5 kids, 5 boys. So like that Colquitt legacy keeps going.
We might see another Colquitt on this team.
Yeah, but Dustin's one of those that came to mind right off the bat, and Eric Berry's another one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like
That's one of the jerseys I wear a lot.
Chiefs royalty.
EB did so many kind things to like the interns and just the people of the staff, just
That's
out of
so
his way,
cool.
kind things that you're like, you're an all-pro safety that just
Right.
like
And an
you-
all-pro human.
yes,
Like, you
an
don't
all-pro
have to pay
human.
attention to all these people, but you do, and
Yep.
you like care.
Yep, I have 29s jersey, and I've loved it. I wear it all the time.
Yeah, amazing human. But good question though. There's a long list of great quality
sure.
humans.
I'm sure.
That have,
No, but who's
played.
your favorite?
Yeah,
Oh
and I'll
my
ask you
gosh.
after
Yeah,
the
just wait.
podcast.
Could I give you a Mount Rushmore? And we'll start there.
You get one.
Yes.
We'll talk after the podcast about who was rolling meat.
Yes.
So-
you say that one.
So my last question is, and because it's crazy to me, because I had no idea this was a thing, so I just want to kind of tell people, because I don't think that the Hunt family brags about this or anything. It's why I didn't know. But I went to Andrew's house after the Super Bowl. We were there for, I believe it was Scotty's birthday party. And we're there, and there's this Chiefs box there, and I'm like,
Oh, what's this?
what's this? It looked fancy. It was like a gold arrowhead on the top of it. Because he's given me some Christmas presents, that are cool, like stadium, like miniature, that like you just can't. It's just not something you get, But season ticket holders would get it, right? But I thought it was the coolest present ever, right? But so I thought it was something like that. And he's like, just open it up. I was like, I open it up. And slowly this like ring comes out of it, and it's like spinning, and then a video starts playing and comes up, and it's like all this stuff, and I look at the ring, I was like, oh my God, that's the Super Bowl ring. I was like, how do you have this? Do you just have a loaner to like show people or something while you're there? And he was like, no, they
A loner.
give them to all of the staff, and I was like, even the janitor? And it was just like, what?
Yeah.
And so he shows me, like, I got to take a picture with the ring on, and then he shows me his picture with the 3 rings. And I was like, they give everybody those on the staff? And I just thought that was, because those were $46,000 cost.
Yeah,
So
Bobby
you don't-
told Cody
Each
that.
employee
Sorry.
gets
Yeah.
those.
Hopefully my wife's not listening this far.
Oh no, here,
I
you
don't
let the
even know
cat
how
out of
you
the bag
stole my
here.
thunder here. So I had a second job at the time, right? And this lady comes into the store that I was working at, and she had a Chiefs Super Bowl ring on. And I was like, oh my gosh, we just started this podcast. That'd be so cool. Do you mind if I try it on? She's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah. So it was a 23.
Okay.
It was the second Super Bowl, and she let me try that on. I sent the picture all around. And 3 days later, he goes over to your house, and he's like, check this out. And I was like, of course. Bob always has to one up me.
70 hours to shine
Always.
through this. Damn.
And he's like, yeah, Andrew. And I'm like, Andrew.
Oh man. Yeah, it's surreal to have like a family heirloom piece, 3 of
So
them.
cool.
that,
Don't ever get
you
rid of
know,
those.
and yeah, I keep telling my wife that I'm like, no,
No,
we're
And
not.
I
never
told
get
her
rid
to
of
that
it.
argument,
right?
man.
Yeah. Everybody who has Chiefs on their paycheck gets one, right?
Yeah, it was. There's like a tier system where there's obviously players and coaches sort of have this top tier, but then there's like an exact sort of replica that are for staff and business staff, and the Hunt family just has huge hearts. I mean, honestly, they allowed for staff to bring +1s to go to the Super Bowl.
I was going to bring
So,
that up next as
I
a
mean-
little icing on the cake. You've gotten to go to 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I
haven't taken your wife once. Just
yeah,
Should be.
hopefully again she's not listening this far into the podcast. Yeah, I mean, I would have never dreamed that getting
nuts.
started into a career where I got to impact young people and hopefully spark new Chiefs fans into our Chiefs kingdom, that would get me to a point where I was taking my dad, my mom, my brother to a Super
So
Bowl,
cool.
It's so cool.
getting rings and to save for generations. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's just and stories. I mean, oh my
mean,
gosh,
yeah.
the stories are beyond. So many good ones. I'm so
I mean,
thankful, you know.
The people that have been to a Super Bowl one in their lifetime is in the 0.01 percentile of the world. I mean, that might even be generous. And you've been to 3. I mean, just so cool.
Yeah,
I'm so happy for you.
luckily, I mean, I might be the good luck charm because I didn't go to the one in Tampa over COVID that we lost. I wasn't there. I stayed home for that one because of the COVID situation.
You're
so,
Somebody
the
buy
lucky
this
hat
man.
guy.
So I'm
Somebody
3 for
buy
3.
This man a ticket.
Okay,
yeah,
you
so if
better
we
call
go ahead and-
Clark.
Say.
You better
Yeah.
call Clark.
Just
and be
put
like,
that
hey,
out
Clark.
there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just so
you
you
may
know.
wanna.
If
Yeah.
I'm there, we win.
Yep. So we'll see
Listen,
what happens.
So if you're not there and we lose, I know who to
Yeah.
put.
it's
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
So yeah.
Yep.
All right, well,
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to follow us on socials, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Facebook. You can find all of our links at buckandbob.com. That's BUKNBOB.com. Andrew, where can we find you, and remind everybody about your event coming up?
Yeah, definitely. So we're at Chicken and Pickle this Wednesday for our Youth Ambassadors Skate and Donate event. It's the Overland Park Chicken and Pickle. But you can look us up, youthambassadorskc.org. Lots of great ways to get involved. Come and see the impact we're making with kids, and trust me, you'll love it. It's an amazing mission. So thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I want to talk football anytime with you all.
And Mel, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can just find me here whenever I decide to come on.
Okay. And Buck, where can we find you?
As always, you can find me on Twix. It's at Buck_tastic. That's BUK_TASTIK.
And you can find me on Twix. That's Twitter and X combined.
I
Andrew.
I like that.
It's a new thing.
Okay, I like
Twix.
that.
I just made it
Because
up.
old
Bob
Twitter
did.
is formerly pretty much dead, and I don't think I could ever lean into X. So
I can't
Twix
stand
is a good
X.
mix.
Twix is a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, I can dig
Happy
it.
medium.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. And we're going to get out of here. Thank you again so much for coming. It's been a blast.
you.
We
We
will
will have
definitely
you
have
again.
you
Yeah,
on
this has been fun.
again.
This is a lot of fun.
And yeah, any events coming up for the Youth Ambassadors KC.org. We would love to have you on to talk about it. And yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right.
How about those Chiefs?
How about those Chiefs?
Awesome.